My first words were Dada, but I went Dada. But my mum said she always knew I was going to be a magician, because apparently I came out of the lady in the next bed. I'm laughing as well, but I wrote them. The how. Well, it goes back to a little boy and the first magic show I saw. It was at a local village hall. I walked in, I had a look around with all my friends. It's a very strange place. All the curtains were drawn, but the rest of the furniture was real. And there was the magician. He stood there in front of all us children. It looked very strange. He had wooden legs and real feet. But he stood there and he waved his hand across us children like that, and he waved it back. And he gave that look that magicians give when they're trying to look mysterious, but it looks like they're sucking a lemon. A bit like that. And he reached into his box and he pulled out a yellow handkerchief and started waving it like this. And I can remember thinking to myself, that's dangerous. Now you might be sitting there thinking, that's not dangerous. But ladies and gentlemen, when you've worked in some of the venues I've worked in, waving a silk handkerchief can be very dangerous. And he ran it through his hands a few times, and he took the yellow handkerchief, pushed it into his fist. He reached into his box with a little bit of magic dust and sprinkled it on the top. And then he pulled out a nice green handkerchief. He pushed a bit more in, got some more magic dust, sprinkled a bit more on, pulled out a bit more green, pushed a bit more yellow in, the last bit of magic dust, and pulled out an entire green handkerchief. No. It's no good if you're forced. Now, I was a bit like you, see, I was a bit like you. All my friends were clapping and I was just sitting there, just like you. And my friend nudged me in the ribs and said, what's the matter with you? Why aren't you clapping? It's marvellous. I said, well, it's obvious, isn't it? The other one's in his hand. And my friend said, no, that's not how it's done at all. No. And you know what? I must admit, I was quite impressed. So I went up to the magician at the end and nudged him in the ribs like that. And I said, you know that trick with the yellow handkerchief, you push it into your fist and pull out a green one? He said, yes. I said, tell us how it's done. And he looked to the left and he looked to the right and he said, can you keep a secret? I said, yes. He said, so can I? I walked away. I said, no, you've got to tell me how it's done. So he said, all right, I'll tell you what, I won't tell you the magic version, I'll tell you the trick version. Now the trick version, ladies and gentlemen, uses two handkerchiefs, green and a yellow. So what you do before the show is you take the green one and you push it right down into your fist, so it's a nice little tiny ball right down here. And then you get the yellow handkerchief and hold it openly in this hand. So you've got the green one hidden in this hand, the yellow one openly in this hand. Before the show, you put it through your fingers to show everybody that it's a real handkerchief. And then you put the yellow handkerchief in to your fist. And I was like this in my living room. Pushed it into my fist, and I realised I'd forgotten to buy some magic dust from Tesco's. So I thought, what am I going to do? And then I saw some salt on the table. So I grabbed the salt, I added a little bit of salt, and pulled out the green, red handkerchief. Is this you? So I couldn't let the audience know I'd gone wrong. So I kept pushing the yellow in. I added a bit more salt. I pulled out a bit more red. Pushed a bit more in. Added a bit of salt. And then, of course, I pulled out the red handkerchief and the crowd went wild. Of course, at that point, I realised I was up the spout. Because if I opened my hand, they'd see the green one that I hid there earlier. And I couldn't let that happen. So I thought, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I thought to myself, I know, I won't add any more salt, because that would cause the problem in the first place. I got a bit of pepper. I added a bit of pepper. I made a magical gesture. Gave a quick blow, and of course from that day I was a magician.